Hello, our names are Manuela
and Selia.
What we will talk about today is our project that focuses on the abuse of power or the actions we see street cops take unjustly. What we hope to do is to open people's eyes to show them the power abuse that is taking place on streets currently. Street cops and other high authorities are being able to take actions without actually knowing the reasons for why someone is making a certain move. Or sometimes the case is there is no reason for why the action should be taken by the authorities, and eventually they are able to get away with it.
My partner and I looked at many cases, and the one that stood out to us the most was the Oscar Grant case. This case got numerous attention from both people and media, and everyday people as well. Firstly, we would like to define what is abuse of power.
Abuse of power is in the context of what an officer is legally allowed to do. He or she oversteps those legal boundaries, or on the other hand, abuse of power can mean that regardlessly of legality, an officer used his or her power to do something violative, cruel, violent, or otherwise ethnically wrong to an individual.
Oscar Grant III was fatally shot by BART police Johannes Meserly in Oakland, California on New Year's Day early in the morning of 2009. According to people in the media, Oscar Grant was killed in Bay Area Rapid Transit train returning from San Francisco by BART police officer Johannes Meserly. The police officer detained Grant and several other passengers on the platform of Fruitvale BART Station. Officer Johannes Meserly and other officers restraining Grant, who was laying face down and allegedly restrained arrest.
Officer Meserly stood firmly and, according to his attorney, said, "Get back or I'm going to tase you." Then Meserly drew his gun out and shot Grant once in the back. Meserly claimed that where his gun was located was where his taser was said to be. During his court testimony, Meserly repeatedly stated that Grant then exclaimed, "You shot me, you shot me." Grant turned out to be unarmed, and therefore he was pronounced dead the next morning at Highland Hospital in Oakland. Until now, the courts and the public have placed the responsibility for Oscar Grant's death entirely on Johannes Meserly, who shot the unarmed passenger on an Oakland BART train platform.
Yet the federal appeals court's ruling has shifted some of the blame to Meserly's supervisor and perhaps the transit system itself. Now we get to see the unjusting role of abuse of power here.
Former officer Johannes Meserly, who fired the shot that killed Grant on January 1st, 2009, served 11 months in prison for involuntary manslaughter and is also a defendant in the damage suit by Grant's father and 4 of his friends. Yet the only thing that gets to us each time is he only served for 11 months and is back on the street somewhere in the state of California.
When me and my partner saw this case, we were also able to see the movie Fruitvale Station. We became really inspired by the topic and decided to keep on investigating. Law enforcement agents initially hired to serve the public. It's their duty to enforce law, but does not give them the authority to act lawlessly. They must also abide by regulations outlined by the government and according people certain rights. The officer act contrary to law and abuse their power. They are often guilty of police harassment, but when they are convicted of this, many of them are able to get away with it after a while.
There are numerous actions that can qualify as police harassment. Police have the authority and the duty to question people suspected of committing crimes. They also have the authority and duty to lawfully look for evidence regarding crimes and to arrest those they believe who have committed crimes. There are some types of questionings, searches, and arrests, however, which may be considered harassment, like we recall in the case of Oscar Grant. He was a typical young black male who was going home with his girlfriend and friends after the New Year's fireworks celebration on BART. There was an altercation between him and a white man that he had gone to prison with, but sadly, he was able to get away, and being the bigger person, Grant decided to leave the train and meet with his friends on the Fruitvale platform.
This is when police officer Meserly suspected Grant. Questioning may qualify as harassment when it is arbitrary. Sometimes police officers will make a habit of stopping a certain person and demanding answers to the random event, even when they do not suspect his or her involvement. This is often an abuse of power. The same type of situation can arise with searches and seizures. An officer may act unlawfully by conducting an unwarranted search and confiscating items not used as part of investigation.
As an officer, they have the ability and may have several reasons for harassing a person. For example, he may be trying to coerce the person to admit to his role in a crime, or the officer might be trying to get information regarding an event that he believed a person witnessed, like Grant's situation. But instead of following through in the situation and asking Grant questions, Meserly shot Grant. Yet, in any event, it does not make police harassment acceptable.
My partner and I cannot change the law or even demand how police officers should act. What we have done to raise awareness is started a website with daily facts about police and their abuse of power. We plan on getting more opinions through people and acknowledging their situation of unjust cases, as well as we would like to interview a street cop.
We cannot change the world, but we can start by raising awareness of the wrongdoings of high authority and recommend situations on how to better themselves. Thank you.